The UFC releasing Muhammad Mokaev may go down as one of the biggest mistakes in UFC history, and today I'm going to give you a few reasons why. So starting off with the flyweight division as a whole. Now, the men's flyweight division in the UFC is probably, a lot of people are going to say, the worst division in the UFC. Either that or men's heavyweight. At the minute, John Jones is destroying that division, but that's a completely different video. But the men's flyweight division, for years, just in my opinion, hasn't got the love that it deserves. Now, the men's flyweight division is in need of big personalities, and we will get into that in a minute. But overall, even for the UFC, they've never really promoted the men's flyweight division. They've never really given it the love they do for other divisions, especially at one point in time when they had Demetrius Johnson in it, who is arguably, well, in my opinion, he's the second best mixed martial artist of all time. The guy was on probably the closest to John Jones in terms of GOAT status I think that we have seen, to be honest. A lot of people might say GSP, that's fine, it's up for debate. For me, I would have Demetrius Johnson above him. But yeah, even when they had that, they never promoted it. Then obviously Henry Cejudo won the belt. He was a character, but never stayed in the division that long. He fought TJ Dillashaw and then went straight to bantamweight. And we know what happened to him. He ruined his career for money. But yeah, the men's flyweight, the UFC have never really promoted it. They've even talked about getting rid of it at one point. Like, you just look at 301, which was headlined by a flyweight fight. Wasn't even a press conference for that, and there was a title fight on it. It just goes to show you they do not care about this division. Now, it's not for the fact that the flyweights are boring in terms of fighting, because they're not. They're normally very high energy, fast paced fights, and they're arguably some of the more technical fighters on the UFC's roster. But for whatever reason, the UFC just don't care for them. The main reason being is because there isn't any characters or big personalities in that division, and that is where releasing Muhammad Mokaev is a big problem. Now, this guy, is he a big personality? Like, he's going to draw a lot of views on interviews, etc. No, not really, but this guy can generate hype for a fight. Now, it might be for the wrong reasons. I understand the UFC saying he's a ball ache to work with, he's a disaster behind the scenes, blah blah blah, and what he done in the build up to the Manel Kape fight with them fighting constantly, it's just not a good look maybe for the UFC in the public eye, and it's not what the UFC would like to be happening for their fights to be promoted. But just look at McGregor Khabib. McGregor got arrested, and I mean, the UFC came out and didn't say they liked that. They came out against it, obviously against McGregor doing that, but they used it in the promotional side for that fight. Now, obviously, Muhammad Mokaev, Manel Kape didn't bring the numbers of the McGregor Khabib, so maybe that's why the UFC were so lenient with that. But Muhammad Mokaev, what him and Manel Kape done in the build up to their fight at UFC 304, it was probably, in my opinion anyway, for me, it was the fight that I was most excited to see. Now, did it deliver on expectations? No, but that's not Muhammad Mokaev's fault. It's not Manel Kape's fault. It's both of their faults together. You can't just single out one guy. But Muhammad Mokaev is a personality in there. He is someone that will generate hype for his fights. Maybe not in interviews, but maybe by just being a dick, by just starting shit backstage and stuff. But that's what McGregor done. He done that with Khabib before. He's done that with Tyron Woodley, RDA. You know, and that creates buzz for their current fight, potential future fights. Muhammad Mokaev done that. Now, let's just go over another thing. As you can see on screen, this is the top 5 currently of the men's flyweights division, and we're just going to go through in terms of Instagram followers, etc. So Tatsuro Taira, who is a pretty big name, obviously coming out of Japan, he currently has 90k followers, right? So he's got 90k. Kai Car France is currently sitting at 2,100. Did I say that right? No, I don't think it is. 212k anyway, Instagram followers. Then you've got Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno is a massive star. So he's a mega star for the UFC. And I was actually surprised when I researched this. He's got 2.2 million followers. 2.2 million Instagram followers. I didn't realize Brandon Moreno was him, but he is. Then you've got Brandon Royval, who's currently ranked number 1 in the men's flyweight division. He's got 83k. That's it, 83k. Then you've got Amir Albazi. Amir Albazi has got 262k. I don't know if that's right. I'm just remembering these off the top of my head. Let me see. That can't be right. No, He's got 151k. That is what Amir Albazi has. And then you've got the champion, Pantoja, who's got 262k. The champion has 262k. So the biggest so far is Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno is a massive star, as we've just seen. Then you've got Muhammad Mokaev, 1.8 million followers. So he's got more followers than the champion of the division, more than the number one contender. The only guy that beats him out in terms of social media following is Brandon Moreno. This guy is a massive name and a massive star. The UFC have really dropped the ball with Muhammad Mokaev here. And outside of social media and stuff like that, which is a really big thing nowadays because a lot of people, obviously the entire world's on social media. Let's just talk about, in terms of markets for the UFC, Mokaev is extremely promotable in so many different markets. You've got the UK audience, they love him. He's very promotable there. He's a big star in the UK. Then you've got, obviously he's got a Russian background, I believe. In Saudi Arabia, he would also be a massive star out there. Two massive markets for the UFC, especially the Middle East, a market that they are trying to overcome now. Obviously they've got the UK market, it's already solidified, but the Middle East, where they're looking to go and expand, Muhammad Mokaev would be perfect for that. I really feel like the UFC have dropped the ball with him. Is he the most entertaining fighter to watch? No, not really. But the guy, in my opinion, he does a good job of promoting himself. Maybe not in all the right ways, but I think he would have been. He's a great addition to the men's flyweight division. I feel like the UFC really dropped the ball with him. I really do. I feel like this is such a missed opportunity on the UFC's behalf. But let me know your opinions in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.